Welcome to our global partners. Before we get started on today's Be Cloud Director VM Live, I just have a few kickstarts. So as a reminder, you heard it, like all VM Lives, we're recording this VM Live, and playbacks are always available to you 24 to 48 hours after we air live. Log into Partner Connect, go to the very far right of the Partner Connect page, and you're going to see the VM Live tab. Once you open up that VM Live page, we're going to show you upcoming sessions and things that you need to know, and also those on-demand sessions. Because we are live, we encourage you to be here live with us, helping you, our partners, get answers to your questions in real time with our great subject matter experts. Speaking of great subject matter experts, it is my pleasure to turn today's VM Live over to you, Esther. Welcome.
Thank you, Teresa. Hello and welcome to this live webinar dedicated to VMware Cloud Director Availability 4.4. I am Ashta Podel Sharma, Product Marketing Manager for VCDA, and I'm joined by my colleague, Nicole Patrick Cove, who is our Technical Product Manager. And he will be covering a high-level demo of the feature updates from my side. Now let us set the scene for VCDA 4.4 and why this release is worth all your attention. 4.4 release is groundbreaking as it overcomes a lot of technical barriers in terms of migration endpoint coverage. And this launch also captures competitive self-service DR and migration features. What else is covered in this release? 4.4 brings the highest number of features that are oriented towards multi-tenanted cloud DR and migration lifecycle management, from vSphere DR migration to recovery plans execution report, IPO Compliance report, as well as user-centric features such as in-product feedback and support bundles. 4.4 really has the power to transform cloud migration and DR journey. How can we access VCDA 4.4? Upgrading or downloading the latest version is straightforward. Please refer to the upgrade links embedded onto this slide, which will be supplied to you after this session. And also take a moment to go through, go to our go-to-market resources that are available in our Vault page. By the way, I hope you will not forget to tune into the Hive training video, as well as our Feature Friday episode 98 with Nicole and Guy Bartram for a deep dive session. VCDA 4.4 is generally available since 23rd June, and the uptake has been very, very encouraging. Whether you are already using VCDA or planning to use it in the future, the most frequently asked question from prospective cloud providers or end customer is why should they consider VCDA? A recent report published by Gartner indicated that evaluating, selecting, and purchasing B2B software can be a lengthy cycle with an average of 3 to 6 months being the minimal time spent on this process. Only 21% of the businesses that responded to this survey believed that they spent less than 3 months looking and procuring SaaS products. However, 80% of the businesses spend over 3 to 6 months to a year to fit a software product that goes step by step to their strategy. With VCDA, VCPP partners can enjoy a standardized solution that has no additional cost of implementation and procurement hassle. It's agile and has now become a highly sought after DR and migration solution that beats legacy DR solutions. Generally they have a lot of red tapes around it. So we're here to kind of transform your DR and migration processes without any glitches and issues in terms of legacy software issues. So in the next slide, we will look at benefits of VCDA holistically. VCDA is just simple. Native vSphere tooling and integration plus a consolidated interface, even across clouds, offers a simplified and familiar experience. So no new training or skill is needed. It is scalable as it adopts VMware validated design architectures, and the inherent elasticity of VMware's underlying platform allows cloud providers to scale for any enterprise level deployment use cases. It offers storage flexibility, local and native S3 provider storage is supported, and flexible retention and local replication archive support is also available. It offers multi-cloud support. VMware workloads can be run in VMware clouds on-premises, at the edge, in your provider's data center, and in hyperscalers supported by your provider. We cover VMware Cloud with AWS, Google Cloud, VMware Engine, and Azure solutions as well. In terms of performance depends on the SLAs, and the more data slices kept, the longer the recovery time objective, as in RTO. With multiple kits, most of the consolidation is already done, unlike journaling. Native VMware file formats are also used, so no conversion is required, further speeding the processes. And note, none of this affects the RPO in general. And in terms of broad ransomware support, there is a tight integration available with VMware NSX for broader security and ransomware protection capabilities, as well as better infrastructure protection is offered. And you can easily integrate with a lot of third-party solutions as well. With these high-level benefits covered, let's now move on to the actual 4.4 features, which is very, very exciting. So let's start with vSphere DR migration, which is our key main primary feature for 4.4 release. VMware Cloud Director Availability 4.4 can now replicate tenant vSphere workloads between a dedicated on-premise vCenter server instance and a provider-hosted vCenter server instance, or between provider-hosted vCenter server instances as well. And yes, it can do it all. The DR migration offering is no longer dependent on VMware Cloud Director. This is a great opportunity for cloud providers to expand their service offerings as well. This release maintains feature parity against VMware Cloud Director as an endpoint DR and migration capability, so cloud providers can get a consistent, integrated, and standardized experience across their migration journey. This feature offers cloud providers the full autonomy to manage RPO, retention policy, compressions, storage policy, and monitor overall health exactly as before. So the new replication functionality can directly be enabled with vSphere 6.7 and 7.0 UI, vSphere client plugin, as well as through VMware Cloud Director Availability Portal. The vSphere version 6.5 is supported outside of the vSphere client plugin as well. So this feature is also a part of FlexCore bundle, and it's priced the same, so no big changes here. That is 10 points per VM and 0 points per for migration. So up next, let's take a look at some of the VCD's use case, or all of them in fact. With the extended use cases, cloud providers now have the opportunity to expand multi-tenanted DR and migration services across a wide range of endpoints, as you can see from this visual. This can also facilitate tiering of services, monetization, and accelerate adoption in general. Moving on to the second key feature of VCDA 4.4, OneClick Migration. So with VCDA 4.4, it offers a highly competitive and managed self-service migration capability developed and designed with cloud providers in mind, as well as tenants. With this feature, tenants can enjoy faster paths to cloud. One-click migration feature is an additional improvement to simplify and speed up tenants' migration experience by adding the capability to execute a migration directly from vSphere UI. That's easy. It allows us to save time, especially for tenants as well who want to conduct the whole process independently. It gives them the option to automatically run this feature with predefined criteria, so no big changes or adjustments that needs to be made for advanced replication configuration and so forth. So up next, we've also got IPO Compliance. With the 4.4 release, IPO Compliance reports are offered for troubleshooting in relation to cloud provider and tenants recovery point objective parameters. The report identify if cloud providers and tenants are in compliance with predefined RPO parameters and discover the reasons for their non-compliance as well. RPO compliance reports can be extracted in HTML and CSV format. However, please note that the compliance report should not be offered as a service. They should only be used in troubleshooting or monitoring. Moving on to recovery plan execution report and monitoring. So cloud providers and tenant users can monitor the health of DR and migration in real time by accessing detailed step-by-step information on failures to troubleshoot in any case of issues. This feature adds an extra layer of confidence and boosts security for users running recovery processes. The report can be extracted in an HTML format. Furthermore, we have network plans, execution report, and monitoring. Version 4.4 offers a layer 2 network extension to VMware Cloud on AWS for stretching an on-premise network to an SDDC hosted at VMware Cloud on AWS, making one-way migration simpler with fewer post-migration changes necessary. Now let us explore some operational improvements. Starting with remote site compatibility pre-upgrade check. With this release, cloud providers can check if the on-premise appliances are compatible with the upgrade version by clicking on the update wizard. Nicolai will be showing you the know-how of this particular feature in his demo. In product feedback, as I mentioned earlier, VMware Cloud Direct Availability discovers a new way to engage, interact, and understand users' needs to make custom-centric decisions and improve product and user experience in general. The in-product feedback feature can be accessed from top right corner of the dashboard, and the rating card is also randomized pop-up feature that appears in different user sessions as well. All feedback we receive is kept anonymously. It's only used for the process of improving customer experience, and we take data security very seriously, integrity very seriously as well. Moving on to endpoint resource capacity filter, cloud providers can use this feature to pin down all the resources that are needed at the destination cloud site to support the protected workload, compute, and storage. Replication alignment with destination storage profiles. With regards to replication alignment with the destination storage profile for provisioning the disk type of a replicated workload accordingly, there is also an option to select thick or thin provisioning of target replications or replicas. Up next, we have managed service replication assignment. So we can basically appoint tenant organizations as the default owner of the replication configured by the provider, or leave the system administrator as a default owner. Up next, cloud collection of support bundles. This is a very interesting one and useful one as well. Basically, we can obtain new on-premise support bundles by logging in, collecting during the initial configuration, and pairing on-premises appliance from the management UI as well. In terms of migrating VApp templates, when migrating VApp templates, you can now migrate the VApp network with their connectivity and migrate the statuses from general to gold master, and obviously customize the VM settings as well. And this basically encapsulates all the feature covered in 4.4. We hope you found this run through valuable, but before I hand over the presentation to Nicolai, I quickly would like to remind everyone to make use of our GoToMarket Kits that is available on Partner Demand Center. So partners can now access Partner Demand Center to obtain GoToMarket Kits for disaster recovery as a service and migration as a service. These kits have been specifically curated for our cloud providers to be branded. Right now, they're in a vanilla state, so they can be co-branded or entirely branded to match your brand preference as well, or tone of voice and messaging, and stick to your branding guidelines as well. The sources are Adobe files, videos, sales enablement guides, value propositions, videos, web pages, whatever you need in order to be able to solidify your sales and marketing strategy. We are there to support you in that process. Let's just take a look at what's available. So here's just an example of what's covered. And moreover, please don't forget about our DR validated program. As a DRAS validated partner, cloud providers will be able to take full advantage of the bespoke program initiative around VMware Cloud Direct Availability and materials, the GTM materials specifically, that will deliver true value to the business and their customers as well. So please encourage your team to make use of this program, just to make sure that everything that's commercially available in terms of DR and migration services is consumed by yourself and your company, as well. So to qualify, all you need to do is meet some of the essential criteria, which is listed above sorry about that, in the link above. And just as a quick heads up, for a partner to be approved, one of the key or primary sort of criteria is that they need to be reporting a minimum of 50 replication per month. And there's few other criteria which you can look up on this document with that link above as well. And last but not the least, we are committed to providing cloud providers with the best support and experience. Your feedback and suggestion will be greatly appreciated, and we would recommend that you take a moment to leave a review. We'd highly appreciate it as well. If you could leave your review on Capterra, and that will just give us an opportunity to kind of enhance and improve the overall experience and the product roadmap for you as well. With that said, you will also get an opportunity to work with a marketing agency to solidify your go-to-market assets and strategy. So please make sure that you leave these reviews and feedback so that we can also give you some perks and rewards along the way. There's also go-to-market support guide, which allows you to take a look at all the opportunities, benefits, enablement programs that's available for VCDA partners or any of our prospective partners. Thank you for your attention today. Now I would like to invite Nicolai for the demo session.
Thank you, Ashta. Let me just share my screen. And I'll start with the OneClick Migration feature that is available for our tenants and also providers. It can be utilized from many different places, from the management portal of Cloud Director availability, from Cloud Director, from the Actions menu on VM or vApp, and directly from the vSphere UI or vSphere client plugin. So basically what the feature does, we can see here a new option called Fast Migration that is available in this context. We also have a new action in the management portal that I'm going to show just now. So after we click the Fast Migration, first, we need to authenticate with our cloud credentials in order to get access to the destination resources. We can see that Fast Migration is in progress, and we are directly navigated to the summary screen. So we don't need to select the destination VDC, storage policy, and other settings. For the destination VDC and storage policy, the first available option is automatically selected. If there are multiple, if it's only one, it is automatically selected. And for settings, it takes the default values like no delayed initial synchronization time, no placement policy, and that's about it. If we don't like any of these settings, of course, we can always go back to the appropriate step and change any of them. So here we can see we have multiple, but we have picked the first one. Also, we can modify the default settings. And if we are happy with that, we can just finalize it. From now on, all the other available actions like testing the migration and then changing the network settings or any other migration settings and running the real migration are exactly the same as they used to be for the typical migration of Cloud Director availability. The purpose of the feature is to save a few clicks for configuring migration, and also it is very useful for inexperienced tenants that can easily now migrate their workloads by a single click without having to go into complex additional configurations and getting confused by that. So this is the new button with the lightning bolt that is for fast migration, so we can initiate it from here as well. And basically that's about this feature. Let me now share another window where I can show you the rest of the new features. So after the OneClick Migration. The next thing that I'm going to show is the change of default owner. So if you're offering a managed service and you configure the replication for your tenants, but then they need to have access to them and see them in their console at least, you need to manually change the owner as defining it by the system administrator user. The owner is by default is the system administrator. With this new option here called default replication owner, we can change, and if we set it to the tenant organization, every time we create a new replication with the sysadmin user, it will automatically change the ownership to the destination organization. So the tenants will be able to see and operate this replication with their org admin credentials, and you don't need to perform the action manually, which again saves a few clicks and makes it very handy if you accidentally forget about changing the ownership. The next thing, the support bundles. Here, when we pair or repair an on-premises site to the cloud, we have a new option called allow a collection of support bundles from the cloud, similarly to allow connection from cloud, which is enabling configuring migrations from the cloud UI and accessing the vSphere workloads. So it's part of the same wizard, and in order to enable it, the tenants need to repair after they upgrade to BCDA 4.4. And after this is enabled, when we are in our cloud UI, we can see all the available on-premises sites that we have this option enabled. So we can select and we can just generate the support bundles for this site, then download. It's very useful for troubleshooting calls when you don't require access to the tenant environment and you don't require any from the tenant side to attend the call. So it saves some time for the people who are performing the troubleshooting. Okay, next is, yeah, here it is. I can now download it. The next thing, the reports, the IPO Compliance report that is showing the IPO violations. As Asta mentioned, it is a report used for troubleshooting, as it might not contain 100% of the violations due to some technical reasons of HBR. And the report itself, it can be generated for all organizations or per organization. We can include or exclude system-owned replications if you don't have the automatic change of ownership, for example, enabled. We can show only the violations and exclude the ones that are the replications that are green. We can also remove the deleted replications. Here, this flag is alive. If it says no, this means it is a deleted replication. So we can exclude this. And we can see in the report the time when we had the IPO violation. So we can then investigate what happened during this period and understand why it happened. We don't see the reason, and this means also post replications will also appear in the report. After it's generated, we can change the time frame, and we can generate it as an HTML report that can be later viewed and exported if needed. Here we can see all the same information, and also in a TSV report, where which can be very helpful if you would like to import it in some third-party system or Excel, for example. This report is available only to the system administrator. Organization administrators cannot see it and cannot generate it. Okay. The next thing, the recovery plans and the enhancements that we have here. So I have this plan here, and the first thing that we introduced when I start a test or failover is the live monitoring of the actions. So now we can see on which step we are and where on which part of the step, and we have this thing called follow plan. If it is enabled and, for example, we switch to another step, once we the step changes and moves to the next one, it will automatically point us to the correct step, so we can always track it live and will be pointed to the currently running step. If it is disabled, we will not have this followed, and we will stay on the step that we manually selected. So now this will run for like another minute. Again, we have the same functions like waiting periods, user prompts, and we can use VApps and independent VMs depending on what we would like to include. If we include VApps and later we add additional VMs to this VApp, they will be automatically included in the recovery plan as well. And if we only select VMs instead of the VApp, this will not happen. So while we are waiting, I'm just going to show the past reports. So reports are generated for test runs, for cleanups, and also for real runs, no matter if they're successful or not. So each report looks like that. We have information about the plan and the site, who is the owner, and for each step, the duration of the step and its status. If we have a problem, let's say here, we indicate this as well, what exactly happened, what was the reason for the failure. Here it's suspended by the user. So we can see that, and we can see on which step, whether it has started or not. So all this detailed information, and it can be exported from this HTML file and sent by email, for example. Here's my prompt. So this report is available for the system administrator and also for the organization administrators. So if they have access to their DR plan, they can see a report for these DR plan executions. Okay, and the last thing that I wanted to show is the highlight of this release, the vSphere to vSphere DRM migration. So what we have here, it's similar to the typical Cloud Director availability deployment. We have an appliance. In this case, it is a single appliance that we deploy under vSphere. It has all the components in it. It doesn't require to have the separate replicator and a tunnel, for example. And once, if you already have a separate replicator and a tunnel, they cannot be used by this new appliance. So during the deployment, there are two new deployment types, one for the cloud and one for the on-premises, that are especially designed for the vSphere to vSphere DRM migration. And after we deploy, this is the only different thing during the setup. After we deploy and power it on, we navigate to the Cloud Director Availability UI and run the initial setup wizard. The initial setup wizard includes connecting to the lookup service and for the cloud, adding a license. For the on-premises VCDA license. For the on-premises, this is not required. So two on-premises sites cannot be paired, which means you always require a license in order to enable DRM migration. There should be at least one site that is licensed and used as a destination. After we have the initial setup wizard finished, the next thing is to pair the two sites. Unlike the typical on-prem to cloud scenario, here we need to pair the two sites. So each one of them requires connectivity to the other. It can be direct through public addresses, through IPsec, or through some kind of a proxy. So after you grant the connectivity, you can perform the pairing. It's very easy, just adding the service endpoint of the other side. And these steps are done on both the on-prem and the cloud side. After that, we have everything configured, and we are ready to start replicating. Since currently multi-tenancy is not supported, this vSphere to vSphere DRN migration is suitable for dedicated vSphere destination clouds. And this is one of the important things to know. The flow is the typical one. We can just go to outgoing replications. Here I have one already configured, and I can configure another one. We support migrations. We support also protections. When we configure a new protection, we can select a VM or VMs for that. The destination site, if we have multiple, the destination data store where the new VM will be placed. And for replications, we have control over the RPO settings. We can define as minimum as 1 minute of RPO. We can have advanced retention rules. Similarly to VCD-based clouds, we support up to 24 instances, and we can define different distance for each one of them. We can activate quiescing, compression of replication traffic, select the disk provisioning type, if it should be thin or thick provisioning, delayed initial synchronization if needed, and excluding or including disks. After we configure that, our replication is performing. Since I didn't select the delayed initial synchronization, the replication is performing the initial synchronization at the moment. We can verify the status, the replication state, and what is actually going on. It's a very small VM, so it happened quite quickly. And after we are done, we still have control and can change the replication settings if we want to. For some reason, we have control over that. We can just remove one of the rules, for example, and change the excluded disks, the destination data store. We have the option to perform a testing and actual failover have the same settings. So I'm just going to show one of them. When testing or performing a failover or migration, we need to select the destination VM folder where it will be, the replicated VM will be placed. The compute resource as well, if we want to be more precise with that, and the network that each adapter will connect to. So I'm just selecting this network. If we have multiple VMs here, they'll show as a list, and we can specify the network adapter of each one of them, whether to power on the recovered VM or not. And we can synchronize to the most current state or to one of the existing instances of this VM. I'm selecting this instance and just starting it. The test is starting to synchronize, and this of course has zero impact over the source environment, so it doesn't power off anything or whatever. The source workload is not affected in any way. And on the destination side, we can see the VM created and powered on. I have the cleanup option again, so I can, when I select the cleanup, it will power off and delete the VM from the destination, again, without any impact over the source. And with that, I know that my instance is okay, and I can, in case of disaster, I can use it for failover when it's needed. So basically, this is what I wanted to share as part of my demo. And I would like to thank you for joining. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on the email address that you can see. We'll always be happy to respond. And with that, Teresa, back to you.
Yeah, we do have a question. If you could go back to the demo environment. Daniel's asking if you can repeat the information. He missed something about the not being available in a multi-tenant CD or CD. He was wondering what that was really about because he didn't quite get, he missed what you were saying.
Okay, so yeah, the vSphere to vSphere DRM migration doesn't support multi-tenancy, but this doesn't have any effect over VCD environment. So it's just for this feature. So it is suitable for dedicated vCenter destinations, not for shared vCenter destinations. This is the only thing about multi-tenancy.
Great. And then Thomas had a question about, can he set this up from VCD to a vSphere environment?
Yeah, so it can be used as with this new feature and new appliances that can be deployed there, or the typical as the typical setup also supports to protect and migrate workloads from VCD to an on-premises vCenter. So it's not something new, and it is already there in VCDA.
Okay, and he says for single tenant VCD to VCD.
When we talk about VCD, we utilize the organization. So it would be between, if it is two VCD instances, it would be between two organizations.
And Thomas, if you want to talk live, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll unmute you. And you are more than welcome to talk to our team today live. So great. Okay, you have to unmute yourself, but you're.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, welcome.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, no, I just had a question. So like, for example, we have multiple data center locations where we have VCD, and you know, we have tenants that we're hosting, and I want to have them fail over to other locations. So they log into their vCloud Director portal, let's say in one VCD location. I want to have that fail over to one of our other data centers and have them, you know, be able to go in and do their own failovers from that vCloud Director portal. I just want to make sure, it's a little cumbersome now with the older version, so I just want to make sure that's a possibility that they can do that today. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So do you see my screen now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so this is my one of my Cloud Director instances where I have loaded Cloud Director availability through the Cloud Director availability plugin. And here I have another cloud that is Cloud Director site that I have paired to. And I have also my on-prem site where I initiated a migration. So after I got this VM and have it migrated from my on-prem site, I can then easily protect it from the outgoing replications to the other cloud site that is can be used as a destination. So yeah, this scenario is possible.
And that happens when your VCD is set up with multi-site?
Well, you need to deploy Cloud Director availability in both VCD sites. In both sites and pair it with both VCD. So the actual transfer of data is happening between Cloud Director availability. Okay.
So is it a multi-site vCloud Director setup, or is it another vCloud Director setup?
It is, in my case, it is another Cloud Director setup, but it should support multi-site as well, as you just need to deploy Cloud Director availability in each site, and it will be treated as a different site in terms of Cloud Director availability, even though it is multi-site Cloud Director.
Like vCloud availability will know that it's a multi-site vCloud Director?
It will know that there are other sites because you already have deployed. It will be a different destination site in terms of Cloud Director availability.
Okay. All right. Perfect. That answers my question.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much. No, thank you. Thank you very much. I see some good comments coming back into the chat, into the Q&A. So thank you very much. Your feedback is very important to us for us to continue to deliver you sessions that are valuable to you to help you again deal with your customers and your partners. So I'm always available at VMlive@VMware.com. We're going to make today's deck available to you. We don't want, before I wrap up and go to the 9:30 VM Live, I really want to remind everyone and our partners that the contact catalog is open for Explore, and that's VMworld now. We're calling it Explore this year. So be sure to check that out. I can help you if you have any questions about how to get there. Just email me again at VMlive@VMware.com. We always thank you for being our partners because we do appreciate you as VMware partners. But on behalf of our team of presenters today, thank you so much for being part of our VM Live and part of our VM Live community. We'll talk soon. Take good care. Bye for now.